Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of East Meets West, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, and if you haven't really checked in, make sure y'all follow the new channel. It's already linked up. Y'all already on it. Subscribe, please. Share it. But yeah, this is a special Detroit Pistons edition. As you see, the jersey sitting behind me. You know what I'm saying? We enjoying a little bit of media day right now, just coming back to our fans that be tapping in with us. But how you doing? My boy Con.
Hey, right. This is the beauty of being your partner in crime here, right? I get to be a fan of both my hometown Warriors and the Pistons. So I think I did enough coverage of the Warriors yesterday on social media. It's cool. I try to tap in with all the teams, kind of check out, what's going on. Each team has maybe definitely through the draft, new faces, some familiar faces, but in new jerseys, right. Some look right, some look weird, before we start though, because I think I was actually talking to a friend about NFL versus NBA.
Yeah.
NFL, I think NFL and NFL fandom is done like no other. Because I swear to God, every team's fan base, all 32, they believe they can be good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The NBA, there's a little bit more, people are a little bit more realistic.
it's only 5 players on the court too, though. But
exactly, right? So hey, right, we could be better, but let's be real, right? We're not gonna be winning a title and everything. So it's all relative. But I guess I bring that up because even though we're a basketball podcast, you and I, we are fans of other sports. So got to give a big shout out to the Detroit Tigers.
Oh, the Tigers!
The
Lions.
I will get to the Lions in a second. No, the Tigers, because my San Francisco Giants got eliminated long ago from just the playoffs, playoff contention. So if I got to pick another team, I might as well have a root for your home team.
Yeah, we appreciate.
They got the game one win in their wild card series against Houston. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I would say it's just kind of interesting with the Pistons media day, because I feel like there is, even if you're not as high on the Pistons, and we'll get into that, right? I think at least Pistons fans, there is, I don't want to use aura because I feel like that word has been bastardized now.
Yeah.
But there is this positive energy around Detroit sports. As we just said, the Tigers are the Cinderella story right now of MLB. The Lions are continuing their momentum from last season, and I can't give the Lions too much props. I will when you're not playing the Niners.
Oh,
see, I still see you guys as
lost to y'all.
Yeah, but I feel like we'll have an opportunity to see each other down the line this season. Hint, playoffs. But no, I'm serious. And then obviously go ahead.
Did you see the Tigers celebrate the other day, Friday or something like that? Saturday it might have been. I want to say Friday.
Yes.
They were
celebrating I saw a replay.
We won a damn championship, man. And I'm just sitting up there watching.
That's the thing about MLB. Anytime you clinch, no, that's how they do it in MLB. Anytime you win a series, anytime you clinch anything, clinch a a division title, they'll celebrate, right? They'll party like it's 1999. You know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about champagne, goggles, all of that. Whole party.
There'll be more. Hopefully, there will be
the entirety of it. It was never ending.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to watch the game today, man. I was yelling at the TV. I'm like, dude, you need to throw a strike. You cannot walk these guys.
Where did they play? They played away
Houston.
In Houston.
Yeah,
okay.
Houston has they're the 3 seed, and Detroit is the 6 seed, right? So the wild card round is a best of 3. They won 1, so right.
Yeah,
let's do it, right? The pressure is very much on Houston now. So
yeah.
We'll see. But getting back to basketball, I guess what I'm trying to say is there is a lot of positive energy around Detroit sports. And, hey, whether maybe, the Pistons are kind of taking advantage of that, we're kind of feeding off of that.
Right.
It kind of gives a little bit more enthusiasm, that, hey, right, even if they're not championship bound this year, the Pistons, that is,
Yeah.
it's potentially moving in the right direction, right? And
Yeah.
let's see, based on what we saw and heard from media day, we'll just kind of go through a couple, things that stood out to us.
Yeah.
Our thoughts about what was said, and maybe things that we can look forward to, or we want to look out for in this preseason. So,
well, I mean, with that
take us
being
away.
said, yeah, I guess we
Take us
can
away.
start with Cade. Like, they asked
The
him just
$220
straight
million
up.
man.
Yeah, they just asked him straight up, like, so, was this something, did you have to think about? Did you have to? He was like, oh, I knew I was, this is where I want to be. Like for him, some player of his stature, because he's capable of like Luka Doncic numbers. You know what I mean? Maybe not. He might not have shown the scoring chops yet, like just game in, game out, 30, 30, 30, 30, along with assists and rebounds. But I'm sure he's capable now that he will have better floor stretching and all that. But just going off of his dialogue and what he said, like I was very impressed with that, because it's not a lot of players that just want to come to Detroit and be a part of Detroit, and then just side note, hearing some of the stuff that players have been saying about, we like these vets, and it's because these veterans actually want to be in Detroit. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of, I think about, who we had last season that we got in trades and whatnot. Like Simone Fontecchio probably was cool, but everybody else that came probably didn't want to be here. You know what I mean? So, and that's why a lot of them left, or, ended up getting moved. They probably went to the front office like, oh, well, I'm at this point in my career, or I just don't want to be here. So they got benched, or they got traded, or they got waived. You know what I mean? And for us to now have a set of vets that want to be here, that have been, well, what did they say? Who said they've been on and off the floor? Like they've been improving us as far as just life. I want to say either Ausar or,
oh, I have an answer
it might
to
have
that.
been Ivy, but yeah, or it
I
might have
have an
been
answer
Stu.
for that.
It's we go for it, because I'm
Well, no,
scaling the
we'll
globe.
stay on Cade because
Yeah.
okay, yesterday I was listening to Cade's media session.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's nothing surprising, right? I mean, more often than not, you're gonna get politically correct answers. You're gonna be towing the company line. I mean, I don't think a guy who just signed a $200+ million extension goes like, no, I don't want to be here, right? I mean,
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, you want to exude optimism. That's what the whole, like I said, preseason vibes are about. But the thing that stood out to me about Cade is what his teammates had to say about him. And as you said, you're talking about like veteran presence and veteran leadership. It was Tobias Harris's press conference that his comments stood out to me the most. So I don't want to maybe skip a little here, but at least with regards to Cade, he didn't bite his tongue. He just said directly. He said they asked him, if he's had some conversations or some workouts with Cade. He said yes to both. Yeah. And he said he told Cade directly, like, you need to be not just a franchise player. You now have to actually be one of the elite point guards in the league.
Right.
Not theoretically, right? Not just putting up points. Like, you have to be that guy and we will follow you. I love that. I love that. Now, again,
it's because Tobias has been around like marquee players, like elites, you know what I mean? And they have a mindset that's like, if the ship's not going, if I'm not, if I'm not at the wheel, if I'm not controlling the ship, then where's the ship going? You know what I mean? What are we going to do? Just keep switching captains? You know what I mean? So Cade is, and he's taken on that, you know what I mean? Especially by saying what he said. So I'm just happy with the things I've been hearing, but I don't want to go through everything. Let's do it orderly, because I'm just a little excited about it, to see the camaraderie and just them early on, just like really embracing each other, like in some of the pictures and stuff like that. Like, and then seeing Cade say what he said, like just straight up, like, I want to be in Detroit. This is where I want to be. I want to get this team to prominence. I seen the Tigers win the other day. I was in the building, you know what I mean? And I seen the way that the fans reacted to them winning and how the city was reacting, and what the Tigers were celebrating. Like, I want to bring that here to the city and to the Pistons organization, and just to represent the team. And that's a big deal, man. Like, when you want to be a star like, and you want to actually take the reins of a team and carry them to the promised land, man, like you know, it's rare that you get that. It's a lot of players nowadays that are, you know, jumping around, going to different teams, like, maybe I'm not that guy, you know, and it's for some of them is in the latter parts of their careers, but some of them were always like the second. They were always Robin. But Cade is Batman, and he has to get in the mentality of I'm Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And that's the thing too. Like I think again, you know, let's pay attention to what some of the veterans, right? I think most of the guys, well, no, I'd say all the veterans that Treasure Landon has added. I mean, I think they all have a certain level of they're respected around the league.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think of them, you know, like what caliber of player they are. But like, for example, Tim Hardaway Jr., I mean, he made it clear, like he's not expecting Cade to be a carbon copy of Luka.
Right.
But I understand what THJ is saying. Like, he has all the abilities.
He does.
To do a lot of the things Luka does. Like, he can make his presence known, right? Like, maybe you're not like putting up like the gaudy triple doubles, right? I'm saying, but Cade has the ability to not just like contribute, but to affect, whether it's scoring, facilitating, rebounding, defending,
defense.
Frankly, right?
Something like,
Luka does not exactly
shown
right?
us do, right?
Sporadically at best, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, of course, they want to ingratiate themselves to the team, to the fan base, the new guys, that is. Yeah. But I don't think like they haven't said anything that I think is like far-fetched or outlandish.
Right.
Like, I think they actually truly believe the things that they're saying. Like, I don't think, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, this is a world of social media responses. Like, if they said something like ridiculously dumb, like, you know, it's always going to be like shoved back in their face. So I don't think they'd say it. They didn't believe it. But yeah, I mean, we'll see once more. I mean, I saw a couple clips of their first practice today. You know, not too much to go into yet in terms of, you know, breaking down film.
Just Ausar.
Yeah,
just what Ausar shot looks like right now.
But going back to it though, before, you know, as for this opening segment, at least about Cade, JB Bickerstaff, all right, said similar sentiments. That like this is his, like, well, actually, I think we already knew it, but he explicitly have said now, right, that this is Cade's team.
Yeah.
You know, just in case there's still like those kind of debates of like, well, can we play like a Jaden Ivey style and stuff like that? And as it relates, we can talk about Jaden Ivey, but again, it's interesting that Bickerstaff, everything is framed in how it's going, anything that they do is going to be like a function, you know, like an offshoot of what Cade's doing.
Exactly.
So it is very, very, I'm not saying it's going to be a heliocentric offense, but it is very much tailored to him, which, hey, right? I think we knew that, but there you go, right? Like, there is a clear direction of what they're trying to implement. So let's see how it goes.
Well, we shall see. And I hope that I just hope JB really installs something. I mean, because like I said during Summer League, for anybody that tuned in to us, like, we know from what we've seen, Monty was just basically rolling the dice every day. And then he would sub the whole starting lineup out and bring in 5 whole subs. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of shit is that? You know what I mean? So how can you really establish any type of true game plan when you're not staggering? You're not letting some things remain to kind of have attachments to other things that pretty much the rotations. They didn't like mesh at all whatsoever. You know what I mean? It's like starters go out, game over, basically. So now I think we'll have something in place, and who knows? Like, you know, I want Ausar to get fully healthy. I don't want him to play with blood clots, but I will, on top of that, say maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Like, he gets to full health. Maybe he gets cleared in a week or two after the season begins, or maybe before the season begins. You know? But he's in a situation where he'll be kind of eased into the lineup, and maybe it allows for Ron Holland or somebody else to kind of fill in or showcase what they can do, along with JB ending up putting his rotations together. You know what I mean? Like it might be something that's like, oh well, let's just go ahead and put this kind of lineup out here first, and then go from there. Like you never know. Usually with injuries across, and that's across sports. Like an injury happens, then all of a sudden you see somebody step up that you didn't think was capable of doing some of the things that your star player was doing, and whether that's a function of the offense or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that may be something that is maybe a blessing in disguise, but I do want him to get to full health, but I'm not tripping about it because I remember what happened to Chris Bosh. You know what I mean? Like he had a blood clot situation, and then all of a sudden he was out the league, and it was prematurely because him and Wade were about to flex. They were. So I don't want Ausar to already be looking at a career-ending situation. So definitely, I hope the league does make sure they're double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking, quintuple checking, you know what I mean, to make sure that he'll be fine. And then hopefully he's getting checked after games and stuff like that, because I do care about his health. Like he's a big deal to me on our team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. But yeah, I'm just spilling things about the rotation. Like it's gonna be interesting to see this team actually come together. And I hope JB I hope he got a magic wand and he's just like, yeah, I can make that happen. Because I mean, you had smaller guards. Now you got Cade and Ivey, and you know what I mean. Like you have a much bigger team than outside of the two bigs that he had, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. But he has a big, better team with more length, I should say. I won't just say flat out bigger. I'll say they have more length, more athleticism, better vets. Because who did Cleveland have? That was Tobias Harris or Beasley, or you know what I mean. So we're looking. I mean, this team is silently good, man. Like we did a podcast about I had to bring it up. I had to bring it up for the two viewers that's watching right now. I had to bring it up. We did a podcast. You can see it on our other page, but we did a podcast and we broke down what the Pistons record could be. And I'm just gonna throw it out here again. I know what was my final tally?
50 wins.
I'll make it realistic. Okay, so between 35 and 40. Well, what was my number? 34 and 45 wins. That's attainable. It is with this team, because I look at that team last year and I know that we were just a dysfunctional organization, pretty much top to bottom. You know what I mean? Like get rid of some of the people in front office, get rid of the coach, bring in certain players, get rid of certain players, and then bring some vets along in too. Like, yeah, now we got shooting coaches and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just looking like a better situation, and you can see it on the players' faces too, in the media day.
Yeah, I mean, you had to comment on that. Okay, let's be clear, right? Do we truly, in our heart of hearts, do we believe that the Pistons are going to win 50 games? Probably not, right? And to be fair to MJ, based on the win-loss that we did, he had 50 games. Mine was like, 41, 42. So what I'm saying is, like, we're not saying they're going to win 42 to 50 games, but I do believe that there are 42 to 50 winnable games, you know, in terms of like reasonable, like, hey, this is kind of winnable, right? Like if we take away basically what we believe are scheduled losses, you know, whether that's because, you know, back-to-backs or whatever, 3 games in 4 nights, those scenarios. But, and even then, you're going to win a couple of those that you expect to lose. You know, they'll all balance each other out, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But on the topic of Ausar, actually, of course, because the number is like ingrained in my mind because we brought it up on multiple previous episodes. I believe for the season last year, even with his little late season uptick in 3-point shooting, he finished his rookie season shooting 18.3% from 3. That's 18.3%. So naturally, yesterday, because you even brought up that you saw some videos of him shooting and, you know, kind of like looking at his shooting mechanics. Naturally, yesterday, he was asked by multiple reporters about, you know, his shooting improvements, if any, like, you know, what has he done to try to improve, or, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And, I saw like one video of him and his mechanics look a little bit better. Now, you know, doing that in an open gym or, you know, undefended, as opposed to in a live game situation, you know, you have to see it, right? How comfortable do you feel, right? It's like I always said about like Anthony Black. I understand that his numbers, his percentages look good, but if you look at it, it doesn't look comfortable. It doesn't look natural for him. You know, like he has to consciously think about it. So that's what I'm saying. Like my expectations for Ausar, be more selective with your threes. Ideally, don't pass it to him unless he's like in the corner. You know what I'm saying? Especially him, Ivey, Cade, KYP. Know your personnel. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the reason why, actually, I'm glad that you brought up Ausar was, again, quotes that stood out to me from Media Day. And one that I liked from JB Bickerstaff. They asked him about, because basically the general, is this team now a better 3-point shooting team or a better shooting team, you know, than last year? Or actually the way it was phrased is, do you believe this team can provide better spacing than last year's Pistons? Right. And I love his answer. He said, spacing is relative to what you're trying to get out of it. Right. And the reason why I like that is because maybe this is semantics, but I kind of roll my eyes when I hear the term floor spacing. Oh, that guy's a floor spacer.
Right. Somehow,
3-point shooting and spacing have become synonymous. And that is not necessarily the case. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. In the Steph Curry league.
No, but I mean, like, no. See, like,
no, because he's a 3-point shooter, and he helps.
No, I understand that.
Open things up on the floor, but you know, the casual NBA fan is like, you know, that's what they translate into space, is being able to stretch the floor.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. Because with Ausar, it wasn't necessarily answering the same question that JB was answering, but he did say something. I'm paraphrasing here. It's not just his shooting that he's improved upon. There are other things that he believed he did well last year that he believes he's gotten better at, which is, again, right, like interior passing, right? Passing on the dribble. That's what I'm saying. You can create pockets of space, even if you're not a high volume or prolific 3-point shooter. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The mid-range, which is, again, this is why in one of our previous episodes, we talked about Ivey, right? If you actually look, you break down his shot chart, he's fairly efficient, if not very efficient at certain, like, you know, certain sections in the mid-range, usually like outside of the elbow. For some reason, inside the elbow, I don't know. It's not as good. But point being, right?
Yeah.
You are either one of two things, in my opinion, if I'm coaching you. You're either ignorant or you're unaware, right, of the importance of the space between the restricted circle and the 3-point arc. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Going back to what you're saying about JB Bickerstaff, what I loved about his time in Cleveland is it's not micromanaging, but he never, at least at the very least to start out games, he never just lets his team just go out there and freestyle it, right? Like he always starts out, at the very least, he always starts out quarters with a designed play. And I like that because it helps them kind of get into a rhythm. You know, you're not a robot, but hey, right?
Yeah.
That way it starts to become more ingrained that, like, hey, right, each play, let's try to get a high percentage shot and multiple looks. Because all these other teams, in my opinion, they're being taught the wrong thing. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think part of this is either it's poor play design by the coaching or poor execution by the players. Because far too often, what do you see? You know, you call for some kind of like some flare screen, a pin down that gets blown up, and then what? You dribble around and then you jack up a 3.
Yeah.
Right? JB, I'll even pull up some old clips from last year with the Cavs. There's always a secondary or tertiary option to go to on any given play that he draws up. And that's what I'm saying. For a team like this, that maybe they're still trying to become comfortable, right, with their own offense, you know, And, again, it's a lot to learn and there will be bumps. But what I'm saying is, if you can acknowledge that, hey, these individual players, like, they have a lot of talent, but they have maybe certain flaws in their game.
Yeah.
Probably shooting for some of them, right? Ron Holland, I'm looking at you. Ausar.
Ausar.
Maybe even Ivey at times, a little hit or miss. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, it's not just live or die by the three. That's why, right? That's why. So that's why I think, like, I'm very optimistic about, Bickerstaff coaching this specific team, because I feel like, regardless of whether you think, like, because Cavs fans, I understand what you're saying. Like, he's not the man to take us to the mountaintop.
I mean,
to the chip.
well,
that might be true.
I mean,
that might be true.
The coaches get better after they have certain experiences.
That is true. But what I'm saying is, for a team like the Pistons, where they're at, and what they're trying to do, because now going to Trajan Landon, he made it clear, like, yes, every team wants to win games.
Yeah.
But, like, development is the main priority this season. And going back to what you were saying, like, now going to JB Bickerstaff about kind of, experimenting with the lineups, the different lineups, the rotations, substitutions, and stuff like that. Langdon said it's not like a hard thing, but like every 5 to 10 games, yes, they're going to kind of assess what they have. And what can it be moving forward? Because in terms of, like, hey, which guys maybe do we want to get more playing time? Which guys maybe should be traded? Right. So
I like that.
It might seem like we're kind of jumping around, but it's all interrelated. It seems like, I don't know, maybe we're connecting dots that aren't there, but it seems like all their answers, they're all on the same page, is what I'm saying, which means I like that there's been good communication. To me, that's a symbol, like, that's a mark of good communication from both the coaching staff and the front office. And I think the players are starting to understand what it is, not just that the team wants them to do, but like what they want to do in order to make this work, So we'll see. We shall see.
We shall see. So, let me pivot just a little bit.
Yeah, go for it, man. There's a lot of stuff.
Even though it's an answer for it already, they do have. Where's my list? Where's my list? Here it is. We have our camp roster, and I know that it's not going to end up being this. Like, we already have the players that are on 2 ways. We already have some that are on 10-day contracts and whatnot. So, as far as the final roster, since we didn't get in the cat trade, and it doesn't look like we're going to do anything like right now. I don't think so. I think we're going to just let this ride, because it would probably be best to do so at this point. But right now, our roster has. I'll just go with the extras, because see, so you see it. I said 10-day. I meant Exhibit 10. So our Exhibit 10s are Javonte McCoy, Tolu Smith, your boy, Darion Seabrown, who I don't know anything about. Tell me about Darion Seabrown. You know anything about him? I never even heard of him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then we have
he was I believe with the Pelicans. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I thought you want to go down. Oh no, yeah.
Darion
Seabrown,
okay.
I mean, he's Yeah, tell the people who else we got, and we can highlight a couple of these players.
Lamar Stevens is as far as Exhibit 10 contracts, and then on the 2-way contracts, we have Tosan, and I'm not going to butcher his last name, and Dennis Jenkins, of course, because I can never say his last name right. So, I mean, out of that entire list, I just want to make sure that we keep Dennis Jenkins, honestly. You know what I mean? Because outside of Cade and Ivey, I don't know who we have that's a playmaker at the initiating type of position. You know what I mean? I'm thinking maybe Ausar could kind of do a little bit of that, but and of course, somebody like uh Toby as well, but I mean, I can't think of nobody else like on this. I can't see Tim Hardaway initiating offense. I don't know, Ron Holland maybe, but and I mean, what do we think of Marcus Sasser?
Ron,
Is he have we seen enough? Go ahead, go in.
well, no, actually, I think that's a good point. The thing
Mhm.
is, this is where again the you have to remember, and fans will have to remember,
Mhm.
the development is the main priority.
Right.
Because I agree. I think actually, to me, everybody has their player comps for these young guys. I still stand by mine, right?
Mhm.
When I see Ron Holland play, especially at his best, he gives me Andre Iguodala vibes, you know,
Okay.
in a good way. Like when
Right.
Andre Iguodala was like borderline franchise player,
Yeah.
like post AI
In Philly.
Sixers, and like that
Hmm.
one season he was with the Nuggets, and
Yeah.
like everything went
Yeah.
through him,
Yeah.
right? Like that to me is what Ron Holland is capable of. Now, will he be doing that as a rookie? I don't think so. Right? Like I don't think JB, I don't think even he would want Ron to be putting that much responsibility on him, as a rookie.
Right.
But I do believe he is that type of player archetype. Um, so I mean that's what I'm saying, right? I think there are going to be inevitable growing pains.
Hmm.
Um, I agree, Tobias, but I don't think he's a guy you want really pounding the rock. You
Right.
know, same thing with Beasley, right? A good secondary ball handler, playmaker, but not a guy that you just like, hey, here, and then survey the defense and make something happen off the dribble.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Exactly.
agree with you. No, that is definitely a weakness, which is why I kind of going back to throughout the summer, we were saying they could potentially use another point guard. I know you were high on Tyus Jones. He ended up getting dealt to Phoenix.
Right.
Markelle Fultz is still a free agent, which I mean I don't want to be pessimistic or negative, but
Wait,
like
what is he?
he is.
Wow. Okay.
So that's why, like, is there like some kind of injury concerns? Like, is that why he's still a free agent? Because there's no way a guy that talented is just looking for work. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah.
what is it? There's got it. I don't want to like spread some or create like some kind of false rumor, but you
Yeah.
see all this speculation with like writers, like maybe he's not quite 100%, and maybe he's a guy like teams will look at like around the deadline or later in the season when you can start signing 10 guys to 10-day contracts, because it is odd, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd
Um,
pick him up right now if we could. Why not?
yeah, I mean, you have an open roster spot technically.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we put everybody where they're going, like on these exhibit 10s and two-way contracts, yeah, we definitely
Well,
have a
you
roster.
only have there's three, right? You're
There's
allowed
only
three
one.
two-way players. You only
Yeah.
have two officially signed, right?
Okay.
So I mean, it's possibly right. Like one of those exhibit 10s will get one of them. I think I have to check about. I don't think Lamar Stevens is eligible anymore. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
I have to check on that. I know Sebron is. The other guys, obviously Tolu. So we'll see. But and then obviously Wendell Moore. He'll have to justify. I understand. Like, no, I'm serious,
You
right?
stay
Like,
going on window, but I understand. I'm not against it.
no, I know he has a guaranteed. All I'm saying is I know he has a guaranteed contract, but I mean, it's nothing, right?
Yeah.
It's piss in the river, like compared to seriously, right? Like compared to the whole cap, you guys aren't like a luxury tax team. So
No,
I mean, like,
not at all.
that's what I'm saying. If they need to, well, right now they don't even need to open up. I don't believe they would need to open up a roster spot to put Lamar Stevens on the 15-man roster. But if he like proves that he is, like
Yeah.
basically what I'm trying to say is like I would not be surprised at all if Lamar Stevens outplays Wendell Moore. Now you absolutely could have both, but again, if you don't believe that there is a long-term like a future for Wendell Moore with this team, then I don't see him staying with the team other than being like salary filler in a potential trade down the line.
Right.
I
mean, and that's understandable, honestly.
So, but I mean, I bring all that because yes, I mean, I think there's still going to be movement. Maybe not a Karl Anthony Towns size trade, you know, in the next couple weeks. But I think there are a lot of teams that aren't done, you know, setting their opening day roster. I think a lot of teams, even my Warriors, right? There's log jams at positions among several teams. So I think, you know, a ball handler, you know, a backup ball handler. I don't want to say point guard, whether it's point guard, point forward. You know what I'm saying, right? I think one could be made available to the Pistons if they really want to go that route, you know.
Well, I'm saving that spot for Dennis Jenkins. I'm sorry, I can't. I don't.
No, but Dennis is under contract. He is under contract.
He's just two-way.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. I mean, you put him on, you know, you can elevate him or activate him on game days, you know, up to 50 games, right?
Okay, so he's under contract to the point where no one can come scoop him while he's okay. All right. No. That's all I was worried about.
A two-way contract, basically all that means is you are capped at playing 50 NBA games.
Okay.
And after you hit your ceiling or your max of 50 games, right, the team has to decide whether or not they want to elevate you to the 15-man roster. If not, you just stay and you play the remainder of the season in the G League only, right? With the crews.
Right. Understood.
You know, but looking at the other two ways, obviously Tolu, we remember him from Summer League. I think a Summer League fan favorite, more or less. You kind of see his limitations, undersized 5. Javonte McCoy, again, another one of our Summer League friends. Really good, really hustle. You know, we're still trying to figure out if his 3-point shot is real or not. It is not. That's basically, I hate that. I hate that like certain guys, like their NBA viability is just that. It's like one box, 3-point shooting, and was it checked off or not, you know?
Yeah.
But because we saw in Summer League, right? He does so many good things, but you're telling me that like it's just because of the 3-point shot, but I get it. Right?
Yeah.
But going back to your earlier thing, Sebron, again, playmaking, I would say he's more of a forward than a guard.
I've never seen him play. I'm not going to hold you. I've not.
Oh, yeah. He's good. Kind of surprised that New Orleans didn't keep moving forward with him. So there you go. He has that potential of kind of creating something off the dribble.
Well, maybe that's why Trajan sought him out. He probably was like, well, I'm familiar with you, so
yeah,
come on.
And then obviously Lamar Stevens, he has played for JB Bickerstaff, you know. He played on the Cavs. He's been on some other teams. I like him. I like his game a lot, and he's another one of those guys. I think it's a lazy, like, I was about to swear. It's a lazy analysis. Oh, yeah, you know, you can't rely on his 3-point shot. Well, so what? Right. Do you not see all the other shit that he's doing and affecting games, and they're winning?
Okay, so this is my only thing when it comes to him. He seems like he's very paced in a sense, and could that work to his detriment with this unit, or do you think we can actually and then also I kind of feel like he will be feeling kind of a in between James Wiseman, Marvin Bagley-ish type of role. Don't we already have Bobby Clintman for that though? You know what I mean?
So I understand that there.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, if I ask you then right now, what position is Lamar Stevens? Don't look it up.
A 4, right?
No.
He's a 3.
He's more of a 2 or 3. Like if you asked him, fine, he'll probably say 3. Yeah. But his best like NBA minutes came with the Cavs when he was like a fill-in small ball 4.
Right. And that's
I agree with you.
I see him like a 4.
Yeah, your assessment is spot ball, on.
Definitely, but
I think at the 4 he can play like up tempo. That's the irony. At the 3, for some reason, I'm with you. Like he is a little bit more methodical for whatever reason, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah. It's like Paul Pierce
to me
/ Cade kind of shiftiness, if you know what I mean. Like,
He
that's what it
obviously,
looked like.
let's be real. He's on an Exhibit 10. I'm not going to say that makes him irrelevant or anything like that.
Mhm.
But what I'm trying to get at is, especially given that, remember, he obviously, like, I think it was when Mobley went down 2 years ago,
Mhm.
Evan Mobley, that is. I think it's Evan Mobley. But basically, they had an injury to the Cavs starting lineup, and JB put him in, and he started. I know that for a fact. He was on my fantasy team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, like, there is a level of trust, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Now, so to me, I'm just envisioning him as death, as like emergency death
Okay.
that JB feels confident turning to, if for some reason they need to. Now, that is how I envision him, which is why I think, yeah, sure, why not, right? Like, he's proven himself. He's proven he's capable of playing meaningful minutes, not garbage time minutes, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But now I'm with you. That is a very relevant question. Would he be so trusted by JB that, like, if Bobby messes up or if Ron messes up, right, like, you're gonna put him in, right,
Mhm.
at the expense of their developmental minutes, right? Like, they're, like, you're not allowing them to learn from their mistakes because you keep going back to your vet that you trust, right? The low upside vet that you trust. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the recurring joke amongst Warrior fans, right? During Steph's second year in the league, or 1 year, that 1 year Keith Smart coached the Warriors. Anytime Steph made a mistake,
Yeah.
he would bench Steph and put AC Law in the game. and AC Law would even close out games, right? So, like, fans hated,
Craziness.
like, to this day, it's still brought up. Like, and AC Law keeps catching strays from fans. Dude, he was just doing what the coach told him to. It's not like he was, like, trying to, like, stop Steph's growth,
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, I get what you're saying. Like, would Lamar, like, having a guy like Lamar Stevens, I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that JB is here, like you said, going back to what we said earlier in this episode. There seems to be a common understanding, right, from the top to the bottom,
Right.
of what this team is trying to accomplish. So I would like to think you wouldn't, but I don't know. I mean, for me, it's always like, hey, I like wings. I like versatile wings.
Right.
You can never have enough of them. So, I mean, dude, Lamar Stevens wants to come on like a non-guaranteed deal. Shit, man, I'd give him.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, yeah, because
you could do a lot worse. Let's put it that way.
You
Right?
could. Okay, so the last question about him in particular, is he serviceable on defense? Is he serviceable enough?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Individually, I would say yes. But the thing is, too, I would like to think that he is coming in maybe because, who's manning the four? It's really Tobias.
Yeah.
Like Tobias is
especially
or
with
he's
them.
getting load management days, right? Something like
Okay.
that, right? I would like to think all the other four positions are not also injured, right?
Right.
Like, if you're putting a guy like Lamar Stevens in next to four of your projected starters, I would like to think, right, that they would be able to, if there is any drop off, which there likely will be from whomever it is, Tobias, Clintman to Lamar Stevens, that, they can more than make up for it, right? So.
Yeah. Especially with them saying that Isaiah is gonna be they I guess JB looks at him as a 5.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just him trying to have some type of, like, he's trying to mirror what he had in Cleveland. You know what I mean? With Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, where Durham would probably be more of an Allen type, and Isaiah Stewart would be more Evan Mobley because he can shoot. You know what I mean? Especially, he's been increasing his percentages every year. He's been, showing up, like, our efficiency and whatnot when he's on the floor is been going up and up and up. Like, he's been good with a unit, of course, with Cade in it. And hell, I think it's the unit with him, Cade, and Ivey, if I'm not mistaken, that had like decent numbers last season. If I don't quote me on that, anybody listening, don't blow it up. But yeah, he's been improving year in and year out. You know, and I've long been saying I want to see him play the 3. But I mean, if they see him as a 5, then that's even better because he has the athleticism to. I mean, unless you're playing Embiid, Jokic, Giannis, and hell, Giannis isn't even a 5. They play Brook Lopez at the 5. So, what Embiid, Jokic? I mean, what is Victor Wembanyama playing? The 4.
So it'll be actually interesting to see what happens this year. Last year he started out at the 4.
Yeah, and
with Zach Collins at the 5, Zach Collins gets hurt, right? They basically slide Wembanyama to the 5, and then he starts putting up like those historic numbers.
Okay, so not to swap teams, but let's say we got Isaiah Stewart in. Is he able to guard and you know be a stiff matchup for a Victor Wembanyama? In your opinion?
I mean, is he like a lockdown defender?
I mean, can he? No, but can he bother him? Is Vic? Okay, I'll give you that because
I mean, until further notice, we even saw it in the Olympics. Wembanyama, I mean, that's things like with his own natural development, like literally physical development, his physical maturation. He gets pushed around very easily. Yeah. Same thing with Chet. You know?
So basically Isaiah will be looking to be more of a Ben Wallace because he's like what, 6'9"?
Yeah. He's like 6'8", 6'9". So yeah. No, exactly.
I don't know if that's
the
best thing. You know what I mean? Like because a lot of people kind of look down on that nowadays. Like, you know, they look at the Draymonds of the league. They look at, you know, what Julius Randle would have been doing in New York had he stayed on that roster. He probably would have been playing center. You know what I mean? Because they don't have like Mitchell Robinson isn't available. So we put that on the Pistons, and it's like, well, let's say Duran goes down. Isaiah Stewart is our center, basically.
He is a center.
Okay.
He is a center.
Okay.
Like, I don't even want to see him play the 4. I don't want to see him like sharing the floor with Duran. No, I'm serious. Like, what makes him... Okay, here. This is just just like fine. Like maybe there's a lot of people that do share my philosophies and basketball philosophy. But this is just me.
Okay.
Stewart is, in my opinion, a true stretch 5. Okay. Right?
Yeah. He
can legitimately score, initiate either for others or himself on the perimeter and shoot confidently, somewhat efficiently.
Yeah.
But on defense, he is a rim protector. Okay. You see what I'm saying? He is doing the things you would need from your center to be the last line of defense.
Right. I'll give him that.
Channing Frye, Matt Bonner, they were not stretch 5s. They were tall. They were fucking tall guards. Right. They don't do anything a center does. They don't rebound like a center. They don't protect the rim like a center. No, you're just a tall fucking shooter.
Right.
I have no use for you.
Right. Okay.
So that's my point. Right. Okay. And now going back to it, of course, everybody has this fixation for size. I get it. But to me, we've said this before, unless it's functional size, it doesn't matter. Ryan Hollins was hella tall. He can't guard anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
Beef Stew, him being 6'9" and centers actually works to his advantage. You are not going to move Beef Stew. You cannot post him up. You can't back him down.
Yeah, no, you can't.
In fact, for a guy like Wembanyama or even Chet, I would prefer to have a guy like Beef Stew on him. I want a guy with size who gets up and into your center of gravity. Because that way you can't pivot. Everything becomes a fadeaway. You limit your options. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right? You're never going to take a guy completely out of the game. But if you've now completely made him perimeter oriented or just a jump shooter, like what the fuck do I care that you're 7 feet tall and you're settling for fadeaway J's? I've won the defensive possession.
I mean, that's true. And that's why I didn't get Pistons fans wanting to move him potentially for like a Lauri Markkanen or somebody else that was like on the market. but because his toughness factor is just too much, and he actually takes on wanting to guard the other team's best player. You know what I mean? And you just tapped out. But I don't know, Pistons fans. The next question I did have was, what type of minutes do we think we see Simone Fontecchio playing? Because I wanna oh kinds you already how you come back that fast? Damn.
Oh, it wasn't.
Okay.
I accidentally just closed it out,
Oh,
man.
okay. Well, you see my I don't know if you see my question, but I
I
pivoted.
did.
So yeah, what do we see from Simone Fontecchio with all of what we've just accumulated with the Tobias Harris stuff, Beasley, we got Paul Reed, you know what I mean? Like we have a lot of players, Bobby Clinton even, who can come in, show up, and outshine Simone should he. Um, what do you see Simone Fontecchio being like in the first 15, 20 games? Like, does he hold his own? Does he keep a rotation spot, or does he get pushed out? That's
I think
something
he's
I'm.
totally. I think he's totally going to be like a main staple of the
Okay.
rotation, and I'm glad. I
Really?
think you're excited to see. I think so
Yeah, I am excited to see him because he
because,
made me believe when we traded
and I
for
want to
him.
make it sure. Going back to like my pseudo rant just now, like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to downplay the importance of outside shooting,
Yeah.
but I think again, it's like one of
But if that's all you
because
could
this will
do,
relate to both Beef Stew and to Fontecchio.
yeah.
One of my peers, and he's been covering basketball for a long time. Like like he's actually been a basketball journalist. Like like he saw like Dr. J play. Like he covered so back then. So he's got a
Okay.
lot of basketball wisdom.
And for those that don't know, you are actually a scout. So yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no,
No,
but
don't sleep
he
on it.
he said something that like I always think of, and it's like, make no mistake. Obviously, we are in an era of 3-point shooting, and it's a very big part of the game. No
Yeah.
one's trying to say otherwise.
Right.
It's just when you evaluate a player, not just a prospect, a player, like just right now in 2024, imagine that the 3-point line didn't exist. How effective of a basketball player are you then without the 3-point line? In other words, what he's trying to get at is like, what exactly can you contribute if you're not just catching and shooting threes? And so that's why what I'm saying about Beef Stew, and that's why I always think about that with Fontecchio, because he proved that he's not a one-trick pony,
Right.
and without any additional 3-point shooting around him, when guys are actually, because teams do respect his 3-point shot, when they close out on him, look what he did.
Yeah.
A lot of very athletic and powerful finishes at the rim. So what I'm getting at is, you saw it too. It's not just his individual scoring. He's comfortable. You run him off the 3-point line, boom, right?
Yeah.
He's like an express train. And then he would make Wiseman look good a couple times. Throw that lob up. You're not really expecting that. What I'm trying to say is, see, there you go, right? You are multifaceted. You like that term, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's my favorites.
yeah. So no, I think he may, again, same thing, right? He may not have the ceiling of, say, Ausar or Ron Holland, and make no mistake, like they're two completely different types of players. I'm just saying, right? Like he'll probably be playing. I'm Fontecchio, that is, right? The 3 or the 4.
Right.
I'm assuming guys like, that's what I'm saying, right? Like Ron, Ausar, Clintman, they'll be playing the 3 or the 4, right? Maybe
Right.
Clintman some 5. So what I'm saying is, right, like he's again like the type of guy that can connect all these lineups, right? Who can not only help maximize those young guys' strengths,
Yeah.
but kind of make up for like their weaknesses, what they don't do very well right now, things that. So no, I think Fontecchio is in, if I had to guess. So, okay, I think before we close out this episode, now let's kind of move into things we want to see, things we might see. But just real quick, the guys who I think might be on outside of the rotation.
Yeah.
I'll save that one. Um,
Is okay
I
because that
mean,
was actually part of my question the last question I did have off the top of
okay,
my
go
head
ahead.
was okay. So I asked about Fontecchio. How much time does Ron Holland get? And then you can answer that in close if you want.
Ron, I think he has to be getting at least 20 minutes a game,
Is that
at
off the
least.
bench? You
I
believe?
To start the season, yes,
Okay. Okay.
yes. Frankly, I think the bench mob is going to be the kids. Right.
Okay.
I don't see. Well, maybe you can make an argument for Ausar to start, maybe when he's healthy.
Right. Okay.
But I would assume the youngins will be coming off the bench. Obviously with Paul Reed
Right.
and you know, um,
Hmm.
I
So
think.
so
Oh, good.
who's starting then?
Yeah, there was like a projected lineup the other day. I think like by ESPN. I don't remember who was in. I have to look it up. All I remember is I didn't agree. But
Okay. Because I seen one with the vets, like you're saying. Like I seen like Cade. I want to say
oh, okay, no, no, the
Beasley,
one.
Tobias. It was
Yeah,
like all of them, all the
yeah, the
vets,
one that
and
I
it was
saw was.
Cade Duran, and then vets.
Yeah. I think I think we saw the same one. It was
Okay.
1 through 5. It was Cade, Beasley, Fontecchio, Tobias, and Duran.
Okay.
Which it might actually be, given Asar's health, that might actually be the starting day lineup. We talked about this before. It might be the best. Like if you're going to be playing Beasley, it might have to be next. Like it probably has to be next to Cade.
Yeah.
I'm not sure though. I like that for defensive purposes. You know,
Yeah.
Make no mistake. I mean, like Fontecchio, he competes, but it's not ideal, right? Because
Yeah.
inevitably he's going to have to be like picking up someone ball dominant on the perimeter. I don't really like that, but
Hmm.
um, we'll see because going back to what we said, throughout the summer, the guys who might be best suited to give a nice balance of offense and defense probably to start the season. Like probably JB won't go to them yet, right? Because those guys are probably the young guys.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
probably either Ron or Ausar. Basically, it's probably one of those two guys.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
Um, who did we not mention? Oh, so yeah, there you go. That notable omission. So
Yeah.
apparently, whoever was, I don't know, what was that, ESPN? Whoever wrote it, basically omitted Ivey from the starting lineup.
Yeah.
Do you
They did.
do you believe that's going to be the case on opening day?
Okay. Well.
Or perhaps that will lead into our segment. What do we want to see in the preseason
Okay.
games?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, because this is kind of what I've wanted to see for a couple seasons now. So, um, I always thought, especially with Cade's height, his length, his size, his
Okay,
ability.
I know where you're going with this.
You know where I'm going with this because I've been saying it for years, and I can see Cade at the three. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know who runs the one, but who does it matter? You know what I mean? It's like Luka Doncic running the three, but he plays alongside Kyrie Irving, but Kyrie Irving's not bringing the ball up all the time. So let Cade run the three. He's the primary ball handler. And go ahead and put Ivy at the one. Like you have a point of attack lightning bolt should you need it. You know what I mean? And I don't know, maybe throw Beasley in at the two, and then put Tobias. Of course, he'll be at the four with probably Duran. And I mean that might work because all of a sudden you got Cade able to shoot. You got Tobias Harris doing his thing. You got Beasley out there. Who knows what Fred Vincent has done with Ivy up to this point, and who knows if Duran has added or is going to show more flashes of his game in Memphis, where he was shooting like elbowish, like out to the elbow jumpers. You know what I mean? Like if suddenly he's able to translate his face up game to the league, even in just a shot here, a shot there, just to keep it honest,
Yeah.
just to keep defenses honest. Like that would be a decent lineup to me because I love Ivy. Like I want him to start. So I think that would be the best case scenario. And then we'll have a secondary ball handler in with Cade. We'll have the the players, the vets that can also make pretty decent reads on defense and whatnot. Tobias Harris and Beasley out there, and then Duran out there. So you still have the Cade to Duran connection. And in my opinion, I feel like Ivy and Duran have probably the most chemistry of either of the Cade Duran or Ivy Duran connections, because and I know a lot of people probably kill me for this. The Piston fans will kill me for this, but when Cade went down, again last season, for a few games, what did we see? We seen Ivy and Duran, like it was chemistry. I'm not saying that it was generating wins or whatever, but it was generating moments. It was generating looks. It was something that we could build upon. That's okay. So we're staggering the lineup. Cade's out. Guess who's in? Ivy and Duran. You know what I mean? So it's just another look, but I think it's something that's feasible. And then that gives us somebody who I think Cade has been increasing. I don't know how. Maybe he's been just pacing himself and not showing his true level of athleticism, because he showed flashes of it last year, where he would just go kind of Paul Pierce you, kind of Luka Doncic you, and then all of a sudden it's just like, and then he's dunking on you. Maybe he just had to get his strength up and whatnot, so he'll be able to actually finish those types of shots at the rim, him attacking the rim, but he was doing it way more often last year. And just a side note, he said he's been dealing with that shin injury. I think, did he say since high school? And I think he said this is the first offseason he's been able to like go full tilt. So hopefully that means he has a extra gear, you know what I mean, going for him. Because what if that's been limiting him in some way? When he push off, it's like something going on in his body that he's feeling. So it's kind of making him a little bit more, like hesitant or whatever. Like it's playing in the back of your head. So what if he's a little bit faster now? You know what I mean? Because it's just like, I don't.
I always just thought he was
shifty.
I always just thought he was like selective.
I did too. Because
like when he like drives the lane, like when he really is committed, kind of puts his head down.
Yeah.
Like he just like jams on people, man. Like what the hell, dude? So he can. Yeah, you're right. It's in there. I don't know. Like maybe it's a comfort level thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I know you've shared that thought before. Mm-hmm. I guess in terms of what we want to see, or maybe things what we expect to see in preseason, which I think they're going to have to do it. Like they're going to experiment, right? I think they're going to run out a Cade and Ivy backcourt.
I'm not against it whatsoever.
No, I think they need to, because I'm not against the idea. Like I'm not, even though I'm not as high on Jaden Ivey as like say you are.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm not willing to believe that he's still capable of improving and improving significantly.
Right.
Like even if I'm not a big fan, I'm not a hater. And I even like provided that shot chart of his, during the summer.
Right.
It's very possible, to me, again, I think it's a lazy, I'm not saying that you're doing it, but this idea that like, Ivy, they can't play together because, Ivy's not a good, like he's not a consistent, like catch and shoot shooter, so therefore he's not as effective off the ball. Like, I get it. I get that argument. I don't think it's wholly accurate.
Right.
I think there are reasons why they haven't been compatible, which is more about his ability to actually serve. If you're truly playing off of each other, like truly, like say, for example, Kyrie and Luka.
Right.
Then Ivy needs to show me, he needs to show us, right, that he has the same ability to actually point guard the team, right? Like that's where it's been lacking. Because everything to me always comes down, like when I watch him, it's not that he's selfish, but the passing always comes when his first look, which is to score, is taken away.
Right.
Like, do you actually see those passing lanes develop where, the shot isn't right? The optimal thing to be taking or to be like trying to execute first.
Right.
It's things like that. And again, I'm willing to believe that, like, hey, I'm open minded is what I'm saying, but we need to see it, because if he has not improved, then the opening day lineup probably will look like that one projected starting lineup that we saw. Maybe not exactly, but
Yeah. Until some players play themselves into that position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing. Like, we all know Kyrie Irving's a point guard.
Yeah.
Do you call him a point guard when he plays next to Luka? Does it even matter?
No, not next to Luka.
Some people say Luka is a small forward. Okay. I don't give a crap. Yeah, see, okay, fine. He's a small forward.
Yeah.
He is the point guard. It's like Jokic. Go ahead. Call him center. Call Jokic a center. He is the point guard of the team.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray is not. That's what I'm saying. So I don't care where you put. The only thing is, if you put Cade at the 3 and he's like a point forward, then who are you flanking him with? To me, then I want like 2 awesome shooters.
Yeah.
Ideally that they can defend.
Right.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's things like that. It's things like that. I don't know. Any other thoughts? Things you want to see?
No, I just wanted to let everybody know that we our first preseason game is Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm not sure if you'll be free, but maybe we could pick back up with our post game shows.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean, and do a post game show. I know potentially the WNBA playoffs might still be going on. It's saying if necessary, but we have a game against Milwaukee and it's on ESPN, people. So it's a you know what I mean, nationally broadcast game. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be tuning in for that. Like, that's gonna be exciting, especially if we like rout Milwaukee. And
well, your Lions are on their bye week. My Niners play earlier in the day, so yes, we could definitely tap in for some Pistons post game show. I think one other thing though, and let's see how this ages. Going back to what you asked earlier, seems like we can make a case for everyone. Probably didn't talk about Paul Reed enough. I think he was going to have a big role.
Probably didn't talk about Bobby Klintman enough. Probably.
Well, to be fair, we said a lot about Bobby Klintman during the summer.
Well,
and
all right, I'll give it that.
He basically kind of reiterated what we said, right? He sees himself as a 4 or 5, shooting, but he prides himself on his passing, which if you didn't know much about Klintman, but then when we saw him in the summer, boom, right? Like, you could make an argument his best highlights were like his passing that he was doing, especially on the move,
right?
Not just stationary. But going back to it, like, who do we believe will ultimately be on the outside looking in of the rotation? I think Sasser. Oh shit! You asked about who could handle the ball. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
In theory, there should be a role for him. If you're saying we are lacking guys who can competently, handle the ball, create a shot off the dribble, create for others, he can do it. I know, right? He kind of left a sour taste in our mouth, from Summer League.
Right.
Again, if we're thinking optimistically, which I guess we are known on this show to think optimistically, 50 wins.
Right.
All I'm saying is he is playing next to more talented players than he did in Summer League, right?
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe we see a better version of Sasser. I don't know. But even then, he's out. I don't think Wendell, like I said, right? I have nothing against Wendell Moore. It's just I don't know if there's any place for him on this team, period.
Yeah.
Now, this is hurts because he's really done nothing wrong. I think ultimately, if let's say we paid good money for Tobias because we believe he's a known commodity, right? Let's say there's no setbacks. We're getting a good Tobias. Beasley, you chose to come here. You're saying you had other offers. So let's say we're getting good versions of both of them. Tim Hardaway Jr. has done nothing wrong, but I feel like he'll be on the outside because
we didn't talk about him either.
Well, we did. I mentioned him in relation to what he said about Cade. The reason why he also was in my head was Tim Hardaway Sr. I can't remember. He was
He was an assistant coach for us.
Oh yeah. No, but I'm saying like he was recently like on like a radio show or something. I just saw a little clip.
Yeah.
And he was just saying, I understand what he was saying. He's like, of all the players that were moved in the summer by Dallas, he didn't feel like his son should have been one of them. Like why was he the first one to go? Like he even went before Josh Green. You know, like he was a big part of the rotation prior to the deadline. He gets hurt.
Yep.
You know, there was even talk about him potentially being a Sixth Man of the Year candidate.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what he can't do or what he doesn't do very well, but we do know what he does do well.
Yeah.
He seems like a great teammate. He didn't do anything wrong. Now, I'm not saying that he's coming into the Detroit with bad energy. It seems like it's completely the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
But he plays the position that our two most recent first-round picks play.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. If everything, like, not like everything's like perfect, but if Ausar is healthy and he's playing really well, like picking up where he left off before he got, season-ending blood clot.
Yeah.
If Ron has found his groove, right? Because to me, when I say if, I don't think these are unrealistic expectations.
No, it's not.
If they are playing reasonably well, that merits them getting more playing time.
Right.
Than someone's on the outside looking in. And to me, it's the guy on the expiring contract.
I agree.
The reason, though, I want him to keep playing is make him continue to be a valuable asset. Again, not to dehumanize these players, but right, you need to play to show you got it for someone to trade for you.
Right. I mean, yeah.
That's ultimately, I think, that would be the best case scenario, of this partnership.
Well, I think he'll be like did you see the Pistons? Well, did you see just Wayne Ellington, period? I'm sure you have.
Of course.
So yeah,
Fountains of Wayne? Yes,
because he went from here to LA anyway. So I know you had to see him just because of the closeness, especially just in the time zone, watching those games. Yeah, the proximity in the time zone of those games. And because he was one of the top 3-point shooters during those years.
Yeah.
So I think that at very minimum, Tim Hardaway is capable of Wayne Ellington. You know what I mean? Yeah, he might only score 9, but he was 3 for 3, damn it, or 3 for 5, or he scored 15 today and he was, 4 for 5 with a few free throws and a couple drives to the cup, or like I think that's his capability, if not more. Yeah. I'm not limiting him, but he's a spark, basically. You know what I mean? Like if NBA 2K brought back old badges, he's got the spark plug badge. He comes off the bench and suddenly he's dropping like 10, 15, maybe 20 points on you. You know what I mean? Depending on who's on the floor, who you're going against, how they're playing them, and how he's getting found on the floor. Like, I think that he's capable of that. So I won't sleep on him either, because yes, he was in the 6th Man of the Year run, and he actually helped Dallas kind of get through some of the territory that they were going through before they made those moves that kind of really just put them over the top. You know what I mean? Like it put them into another realm, but he was keeping them afloat. He was a big part of that. So yeah.
Because, and I want to make it clear, like, for example, like, it's not the same. Like Marcus Sasser, Wendell Moore, like, to me, they're likely going to be out of the rotation right off the bat. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. will be part of the rotation to start the season. It's just what I'm trying to say is, I think you know where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is that if we're seeing some good improvement, like some good progress from the young guys, specifically Ron Holland, Ausar, I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but those two guys specifically.
Yeah.
Then Ivey. I could see. Yeah, Ivey too, but I guess more. I'm talking about more like the wings. The wing.
Yeah, since he'll be in that position.
Because obviously he's not going to be playing over Tobias. So what I'm saying is, like, if the young wings, if Ron and Ausar are showing good progress, because again, going back to what Trajan said yesterday, the number one priority this season is development.
Yeah.
And if those guys are developing, then in all likelihood, their minutes will increase as the season goes. So if their minutes are increasing, it's got to come at the expense of someone. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I feel like he might not even do anything wrong, THJ that is, but his minutes might get cut, if not altogether.
Right. And then we could be nice and send him to Denver.
Denver,
Yeah.
you know, I don't even need to Photoshop him in a Knicks jersey. He's been a Knick before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put him somewhere where a championship is the like they're not far from them having that goal. It's possible for them. Milwaukee could use them. You know what I mean? Like it's a few teams that we could send them to be like, you know, we about to go in this direction. So we just want to send you somewhere that's got a chance to win as well.
I am going to keep asking this question. Actually, I think this is how I'm going to end every Detroit Pistons show.
Okay.
Until we're mathematically eliminated.
Okay.
Right now, on October 1st, 2024, is this team a play-in team?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I say yes too.
Yeah.
You literally had Jakob Hurtle say the Raptors don't intend to win, that they're going to lose. Now, again, there's context to how he said it, you know, and I respect him for it. But that's what I'm saying. You are crazy if you believe other teams, especially even in the East, are trying to win. If you believe they're actually trying, are you serious? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Not a lot of them.
Well, no, I keep asking because I see you know, anytime there's like some kind of media session or, you know, power ranking, the projected standings. And I saw one the other day where Detroit is 14th in the East. Serious?
Like that's second to last. To who?
Yeah, second to last.
To who? Charlotte?
No, Brooklyn was dead last, which yeah, right. Like we all know that. See, that's what I'm saying, right? Like I respect him. Like they're very, you know, self-aware, and honest about it. Like, hey, man, yeah, we have no intention of being in the postseason, man.
Right.
You know, see that white boy, Cooper Flag? That's who we want. There you
go. Okay.
Yeah. See?
Well, let's close out here. I got to catch the rest of this.
Yeah, me too. I know. I'm sorry. That's like, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I've been sneaking peeks at. I've been looking at, you know, the game caster.
I am too. That's exactly what I'm looking at. Ace's 60-second timeout. Like, but yeah, we will be getting back. We will do some more NBA stuff, some season previews, and just talk across the league. We may, more than likely, we're going to do another W pod. And like we said, be on the lookout Sunday for the Pistons, because you are one of the core bases that we will be speaking to. Because yes, we love Detroit. I'm from Detroit. He's a cousin of Detroit, so
that's right.
Yeah, so we will be coming back, but make sure y'all follow this page. This is the new channel. Make sure y'all follow this channel, like, subscribe, share. It's East Meets West, Basketball Lives. So tell everybody that. And the other channel is East Meets West, a Basketball State of Being. They are cousin, brother channels, whatever you want to say. They're identical twins. Let's just say that. We just had some little YouTube hiccups. So yeah, we'll be coming double. But yeah, be on the lookout for that. And y'all have a good night, man.
All right. Take care.
Yeah. Take care.